Can you hear me now? Hello? There you go. Finally. So I can now restart what I was saying in the beginning of this stream. So I'm now on my laptop. This is a new installation of Streamlabs. Not as beautiful as my desktop. That's why we have some problems configuring this. My mixer says that my mic was capturing my voice, but it didn't put out volume to our stream. I don't know why. It's something that I need to check later. So I'm on my laptop. If there is some performance issues down the line, just for you to have a comprehension, I should ask. It's not my desktop. That's something that annoys me. I have a Seasonic power supply. It's a PSU issue. My desktop is always restarting. It's not a temperature issue. I have checked that. It's annoying. But anyway, I'm on my laptop and I'm streaming right now. I believe it's working okay. So, hello chat and welcome to my stream. And shall we start? Yes, Whisper of Blasphemous. It's my year. Hell yes. You know what you are coming for. So, it's good old reliable laptop here for you. Yeah, it's a. I mean, it's not that an old of a laptop. Maybe like 5 years old. I don't know. It has probably more. It's probably from 2016. So it's probably has its 5 years of use. A Core i7, GTX 960M. Not that good of a laptop, but good enough for what we are doing today. I hope. So, before we start with our work for today, let's just do the mention of today. My overlay is not updated, so the game we are working on will be on Eksauria, as usual. The music, however, I should change that to the OST of today. And that's going to be Blasphemous OST. There you go. Blasphemous OST. We are not sponsored. I wish we would, but yeah. I mean, Squarespace is nice, but Raid Shadow Legends, come on, man. Don't free promote other crap in our stream. Come on, man. Don't do that. If you want to do a sponsor segment, we can do it with our studio. Have you know that we have a itch.io page, which is the itch.io page of UGS, our beautiful studio. Let me see if it appears on our search. No, but we can search it on, for example, Redrun. There you go. And this stream is sponsored by us. You can go to ugs.itch.io itch.io/redrun -alpha, and we can play our alpha of the Redrun. There you go. We also have available another game, which is the first version of Eksauria, the game we are working on today, but it's not the same version. This is a test version that we have done for an assignment in university. This game is developed entirely in JavaScript using the P5 library. Sorry for the sound. This game has a very loud sound. But you can also check our game. Now, the red run, you can download it or give us some coin. So if you want to give us a tip while downloading this game, you are free to do so, or you can get it for free clicking in this link that you shouldn't click on. So give us money and don't get it for free, please. If you are a good person, please feed us, give us the bread. We are starving over here. Just kidding. But yeah, we are working out of our enjoyment. We are a pretty small studio and don't have fundings. So if you want to support us, you can do it that way, or you can support us over Patreon or other means, which I will kindly ask our marketing girl to share those links in our chat. Now, let's just present the game of the day. So as usual, with my streams, I like to present some indie game for you to know. Probably most of you know this game. If not, I'm glad to present you Blasphemous. This is an awesome game to play. It's a platformer. It's adventure, action, so a slight Dark Souls game, if you know what I mean. So you can buy it on Steam and other platforms, I believe. I will share the Steam link because it's on Steam platform that I have bought this game. And if you bought the Digital Deluxe Edition, it comes with the OST that we are going to listen today. Now, talking a little bit more about the game itself. Let's just not play the trailer, because I like to show you more specific stuff, let's say, about the art style. As you can see, it's a pixel art retro-inspired game, which is something that we have in similar with Eksauria. Not the Playstar, for sure. We aren't developing a platform, although we are going to have the life bar and so on and so forth. But it's a pretty cool game. Maybe you will get a surprise next week. Maybe. We shall see. So give us a follow to not lose that. Now, let me see the chat. Having mad internet issues. We have that too over here, but it's back from code me too. Wait. Is my streaming having any problem? Let's just see if chat can help me. Internet seems stable now. So, because if the stream is not playing good, that means my internet is crap. It dropped for a moment there. Oh. Some buffering happened? Maybe. I'm having a slight problem because I don't have fiber in my residence. This is another problem, so let alone being on a laptop, I'm using the 4G internet to stream right now. So yeah. Seems like it may be a good... Now it's smooth. Maybe it was when I load the Blasphemous page, probably when it was loading the the trailer. I don't know. Yeah, people, if you want to donate so I can get a better house, because Fiverr, no one is going to put Fiverr in this place, in this forsaken place. We are into 2021, and for 200 meters they don't install Fiverr in my home. Sad face, Pepe hands. Let's say, anyway, we work what we have. And that's the game for today. So let's just start the soundtrack, shall we? That's a very nice introduction to this soundtrack. I love it. So let's just adjust the volumes. Let's just see if this volume is good enough for our stream. And for me to work too. I don't like to listen to music blasting my ears while I'm working, even though the music is pretty good. We can't hear your soundtrack. Really? You can't hear that? Come on. Come on. Really? It's not low volume, it's just not there. Okay. So these things are not properly working. Let me change that. So let's go to this thing. Change this thing to that. Click done. Lower the volume. How much I have in there? 28 maybe. Okay. This is still not. Maybe it is. Let's just try again. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I present you to the musics of Blasphemous. There you go. Now, because this is a new installation of Streamlabs, I will kindly ask you if the volume is good or not. Yeah. Lost connection. I don't know if that's a problem of my internet or not. I'm going to lower the buffering so it doesn't spend too much internet on my side, too much bandwidth. Thank you for the compliment. There you go. Now we can start our work for today. Now we can start working. So, for today we are not going to present any new features, as I have said before, sadly, of course. Now, we have arrived at a point that I need to optimize better this game. So, you can see some changes. There's new things that we have on game that we haven't seen before. So if you remember the previous streams, I was implementing a path following system, which is already implemented and working somewhat. It needs to be optimized yet, but we arrive when we can. Now, I have this open. What happened to my scripts? Scripts, there you go. I need to open every single one. Okay, because I'm in a new machine, all my scripts aren't opened. So let's just open every single one. So I have them all in here. So, what we have new from last time? So, as you can see, the animations have been updated, even though it needs a slight fix. In here they are idling, but they are walking. It's something that it needs to be fixed. But the most fun and different thing from that we have previously was the path following or pathfinding thing feature. So, as you can see, some enemies are stuck in its place, but the others that have implemented path following are working as intended. As you can see, we have 2 coins in here, and these 2 coins are basically the indication of a path that our enemies are going to patrol. So I'm glad that you all are enjoying this OST. I enjoy it as well. It's a pretty nice OST. So, this is working, but as you can see, not all enemies are using this system. First off, I need to hide that coin when we play the game. So somewhere around all the scripts that I have opened, somewhere, oh, where are you? So we have AI, Battle Combat, Fade on Dead, where are you? So I want the script specific to this item, not the player, please. I want the path. There you go. The script is the path node. There you go. And when the game starts, the coin will be false. So the visibility will be false. So in the construct, so in 2D, while we are on our engine, we can see the coin, so we can plan out where the path is going to go. But if you start the game, now we don't see the coin anymore, and the patrol paths are now invisible to our eyes, which is a good thing for our game. So we have optimized a thing already, but the important thing that I want to optimize today, it's not that. So if we have time, I will try to optimize code itself and comment, but for now I'm going to implement something inside our engine. So I don't know if you all are known in programming ways. So we have various forms of programming. In this case, normally when we program for game development, we tend to program oriented to objects. And when we program oriented to objects, we can follow some guidelines per se. I have forgot how we call those guidelines in English, but for those known in programming, you have known something about hierarchies. So hierarchies is a methodology, there you go, it's a method of programming that we can use to save a lot of work and to program better our games and programs, whatever. I have somewhat doing a different style of programming in the Eksauria, so I have been programming oriented to components, similar to Unity. So you create a component and then you add that component to the object that you want to apply that behavior in. But you can also use hierarchies. And those hierarchies, we have some few hierarchies in our game. So let's just say interactable items have a special hierarchy implemented in this game. So you have an interaction object, and that interaction object is a parent in the hierarchy of objects that applies behavior of interaction in our object. Let's just talk about, for example, the torch, the key, and the door. All of them are interactable items, and all of them have the interaction scripts applied to them, not by hierarchy in code, but in hierarchy in scene. So instead of making the, let's just say, the key code extend from the interaction script, instead of making the hierarchy by that, I have implemented the interaction as a component, so using the component methodology, but in-game, in our scene, I have applied that as an hierarchy. So for example, if I open the items section and I open, for example, the key, as we can see inside this key, the key itself is the object, but that object has some components, and one of them being the interactor, which is the object interaction. And therefore the key extends from this object too. So it's basically and practically, you can apply the hierarchy methodology in here, but in practicality you can see it's basically a component Unity style or other game engine style. For example, Unreal Engine 4 use components as well, even though it's more hierarchy based. But you can have my idea. So my idea is not to mess up too much on this implementation, but to implement this exact system in our enemies. So right now we have like 4 or 5 enemies in this game. So we have the Wight, the Hound, the Gnome, and the Imp. We have also the Ogre somewhere around this test dungeon. The problem is, to implement the path following system, we have to implement things inside an enemy. And I want all of our enemies to share that system. And that's what we are going to optimize today. We are going to create an enemy component, which is going to be the parent of all enemies, which is going to be a component that we are going to apply in every single enemy that we create. So every enemy extends from that component, from the enemy component, which is in theory it's a kind of hierarchy. In practicality it's basically a component, so we are not running too much away from the methodology that we have starting developing the game, so it is very similar to Unity and other game engines, but you can understand that by hierarchies also. So, there's some movement in the chat. Let's just try to interact a little bit with you. So, giant super cake interaction of him. How isn't that a game though? Okay, you are talking between yourselves. That's a good thing to see. What is the game engine you use it again? RPG Maker. Oof, RPG Maker is an old one. Old? It depends on the version. But normally it was in my age one engine that people start to programming games. Nowadays it's more like Unity. Some insane people try Unreal Engine, even though it's not the best engine to start. There is engines that I like to advise people to use when they are start. Probably some that use some kind of visual scripting and not coding itself. So it's not nearly as complex as this. This is way more interesting. Yeah, I can do more stuff here. Well, it depends on the game engine you use. There is pros and cons from using one engine to the other. One of the pros of using Godot is open source, so we don't have to pay royalties. That's a huge one for us. Another one is that it's easy script. So GD script is based on Python. It's not based on Python, it's inspired on Python. So it's easy to program. It's an easier programming language. Even though if, for example, for our viewers, if you don't have too much experience programming, I really advise you to use a visual scripting engine. For example, like the MRH has said, Game Maker is a good one to start. There is another that I'm always forgetting its name because I actually haven't used them before. I don't know, I don't remember how it's called, but it's one of the recommendations to start using a game engine. Very simple, very easy to use one. It's a very simple visual scripting. Maybe some of you will write down in the chat about that one. But let's focus more on the Godot for today. So let's just talk about what I have to optimize for this system. So let's just compare the imp to, for example, the gnome. It works. So as you can see, the imp now has some components, so it can follow the new path system. So you can see there is a detection, which is to detect the player itself, to start combat, to start following the player, so on and so forth. And there's the detection path, and this detection path is responsible to detect when the enemy collides with the path changer, the path node, to follow the next path. So as you can see, we have these coins in game. So we have the first path node, which is a coin. Then we have the second one, which is somewhere in here. There you go, it's in here. And as we can see, we have in our script, we have assign a path. We can choose a path node to follow, which is the next path. So if our enemy collides with this path, it will follow this one. And this one is the one that we indicated in here. It could be this one, or it could be another one that we can choose however we like and position it in our whenever place in our level. And it goes so on and so forth. And if we want to make it a loop, better, because the enemy is going to follow that path, and if it arrives at the last one and it doesn't connect to the first one or another path, it will stop in there. It will not return. So it's an easy, simple method of making paths inside the game. This is something native that Unreal Engine has. So I have made an inspired path following of Unreal. If those who know the engine are that alligator head icon thing. So I have seen most games that came out on that game. Collision. There's some cold shit. Seems Fallout 4 almost perfectly replicated. I need to pay attention in chat and try not to read out loud everything. It might be some danger words in there, even though I don't consider that a danger word for stream, but yeah. Now, where we were before. So yeah, difference between enemies. So I have to implement something different in here. As we can see, there are some enemies that have some parameters and others don't. There is this status effect which is shared between all the enemies. It's a good thing to start. But I want to do something different. So, as the imp is the mob that we are using for the default enemy, we are going to make assassin an object responsible for this move. Please behave in the chat. Let's just not be horny, otherwise I will bonk you out to horny jail. Okay? There you go. I don't know if our Capamon has some horny memes already, so there is a special request to implement in our Capamon if someone says something horny to show that meme. So yeah, let's just start working, and now let's just go to the prefab. Prefab is a term of Unity, and I will duplicate the imp scene, and this scene will be called enemy. There you go. And this enemy, where are you? Enemy. There you go. This enemy will need to be prepared to receive every single difference between other enemies. So one of them will be the animation. The animation will be exclusive to this one. So as the enemy don't have animations, because the animations are exclusive to each one of the enemy, so we don't need that. It's not a common parameter between them. So the status effect is something in common between them, so they are going. This is going to stay. This is a new mechanic of stun. I don't know if you have seen on stream this already or not. Maybe we should see this today. Who knows? We have the collision shape 2D, which is a collision for our enemies. I believe they are all similar between enemies. If not, we can change that. Who knows? The detection, we have this detection script, which is I'm going to change between enemies. So for example, I have this radius that detects the player. This is going to be changed in the future. It's going to have shapes. So instead of using a circle, I'm going to use how it's called, maybe one of polygons that I can change the shape, so I can make it like a cone. So if the enemy is looking down the cone, it's only detecting the player. If he's more down than the enemy, if the player is up, so it's on the back of the enemy is not going to see it. And of course those shapes are going to vary depending on the enemy. For example, if it's the Hound doesn't detect the player with vision itself, it detects with, let's just say, smell, and smell goes on a radius and not on a cone in front of him, and we can change those however we like. Now, a thing that's going to be similar for all of them is this detection path, which is the patrol area that the enemy is going to have. All of them have a shadow, all of them emit some kind of light, which we can control individually, but all of them have these parameters. I should change this name to enemy. There you go, to be consistent. I could left the animation in here. It's something that we could left in here intact, and we could then change the animations as we please, but I will leave it right there. So if we want to create a new enemy, we should create a new enemy and create an animated sprite and configure animated sprite from scratch with all these exact names, so on and so forth. So this is good. This is good. So I will leave it like that. Now that we have our enemy scene, now the thing that we are going to do is to share this enemy scene between all of them. So, as I have said previously, we are using this enemy scene as a component, and I'm going to add this enemy component in all our enemies. So, coming back to the scene, I'm going to open every single one of our enemies. I don't know why the ogre isn't a scene already. I can very fast do that. So save branch as scene. There you go. Ogre, prefabs, done. So we have a scene for every single enemy that we have in game. This shall be in this thing. So let's just open every single enemy that we have. I can do it right here. So we have the enemy should be the first one, so we need to change something. So we have the enemy. Let's start open by gnome, hound, imp, the white, and the ogre. There you go. What the hell? Where's my... There you go. I need to see all of them. There you go. Now I'm checking if all of them have similar collisions, even though I know all of them will not. So, you know, every single one of our enemies have a light occluder. Some of them have a light emitter or not. We can configure that individually. What we all know is our enemies have everything except the animated sprite. So let's just start with the gnome. So the gnome have its animated sprite. This is something that we have inside our enemy. That status effect scene. There you go. We have the collision shape, which is the collider to make our enemy not go through walls, which is good. And also to detect if the enemy collided with the player to start the combat. We also have the detection shape, which is the collider to start following the player. We have the detection path, which is the path following system, the patrol system. We have a light emission, and we have the light. Now this is the occluder, which is something that creates a shadow for our enemy, and then this is the light emitter with a specific light color. So the gnome, if we check the life occluder, we can see the shadow is pretty similar, but this light is different, so it has a whitish color. Let's just not forget that, a whitish color. So what we are going to start to do is to add our enemy scene inside our gnome, exactly like we could have done if we added a component to an object inside Unity. And we can do that, I believe, going in here. If I search for enemy, do you going to appear? No. So I'm going to do the old-fashioned way, like drag and drop inside our node. There you go. So we have our enemy inside the gnome. So we need to make sure those are aligned. So I'm going to transform 0, 0, there you go. And as we can see, our enemy component is overlapping all other components. So we have a light occluder, let's just remove that. We have a light 2D, we need to change this light 2D to have the same parameters as the... No, we are going to change the light parameter inside the enemy to have the same parameters as this light. And we can do that by right clicking and where I can make change to this, expand and collapse. There you go. Is this one? No. Maybe I do this. I want to collapse and see and make change also to what editable children. I believe is this. No, so load. I believe is this editable children. There you go. So I can edit something inside this enemy, and if I edit something in here, I will pray that doesn't change stuff in the original. So let's just change everything to the same light as we have in here. So let's just expand the range, shadow, transform, so on and so forth. So this light, let's do the same, range, shadow, transform. The index is okay. Okay. So this in here and this in here. We can see the texture scale is bigger. So let's just change this to 1. There you go. The energy is 0.8. There you go. All of these parameters are the same. Now let's just scroll to the bottom. And we have position 3 minus 25. So 3 minus 25. The scale is 0.5. So 0.5, and I believe it is the same. So let's just delete this. Yes. Now we have edited the parameters in this enemy, but this enemy is a component exclusive to the gnome. So if I save this and go back to the original enemy scene, you can see it says saved its original parameters. So it has the same emission light, it will have the same collision area, so on and so forth, but we have edited those specific parameters to accommodate the GNOME itself. So even though the enemy scene is something shared between all the enemies, it can be tweaked to the individual enemy itself for the individual parameters of the enemy. And of course there are also something that I have forgot, which is the white color of our light. Now that we have this configured, we can remove this status effect, we can remove the collision shape, we can remove the detection shape, the detection area, which is a simple area 2D, and as you can see, there is our enemy itself. Now this GNOME is some node configuration warning. This node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact. Okay, there is something that we need to change to, which is the type of this node. So how I do this? So maybe in here? No. How do I change the type of this node itself? Maybe in here? No. It isn't that. So, hello, Ikravu. I hope I have said properly your name. New Twitch section, software e-game development. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the tip. I will ask someone of our mods to change our section. This will be very helpful. I'm very happy to see that Twitch has gone back and introduced again a place for game developers to be. Sadly, they have removed the game development before and introduced the science and technology and the art and segregated the game development community. But if we are, in this case, we are segregated the same, artists from programmers, but now we have a software game development specific, which is great for us. Thank you for the tip. So then thank you for our beautiful mods that have already done that. So good job. So now I'm struggling a little bit because I forgot how to change type. There you go. So we already have a kinematic body in our enemy. So physics into this space. Maybe it's a node 2D, so a 2D game object inherited by all 2D related nodes has a position, rotation, scale and index. Okay, maybe I need to do that. I will now affect the imp and then we are going to test if everything is okay. Probably not, because we are adding a new hierarchy to access the animated sprite, so we are probably gonna have some problems, but let's just quickly do the same thing that we have made on GNOME to the imp and see what happens. So we have the enemy, the transform should be 0, 0, and because the settings in the enemy it's the same as the imp, we can pretty sure delete everything. There we go. Change the imp to a node 2D. Let's save. And now we are going to pay attention to the AI controller. We have the AI controller, we have the animated sprite, we have the enemy, which in turn have the status effect, collision, detection, so on and so forth. Okay, so the script is not in the enemy. It is in here. yeah, I don't need the scripting here. So no scripting here, no scripting here, because that script is already in the enemy. So the only thing that we need is the script in the enemy. Although we need to go out the enemy to access the animated sprite. So in code, before we break all the game, we have the AI controller, which the AI controller controls the animations itself. So I'm going to find the animated sprite. There you go. The animated sprite is in here. Now, can the enemy access the animated sprite directly like this, or it will need to indicate the parent? I don't know. Let's just test it, shall we? And as we can see, we broke the game. Yeah. The game is broken. Okay, now I need to change every single animated sprite to access the parent and then access the animated sprite. Okay, now I probably can do that. First off, we need to check every single one of these. Yes, and I need to be on the first one because this is important, being on the first one. Sadly, I can't do right click and edit the name like we can do in Visual Studio, so I'll need to add in every single one of them. So get underscore parent dot. Do you work like this? No, you don't. So without a dot. No. Oh well. How am I going to do this? It's not very demoralizing. Well, let's just say it's something that I have expected before, because I didn't drag the animated sprite inside the enemy, so I already thought that some bugs would appear. But yeah, the part that is demoralizing is that I know that I'm going to edit every single animated sprite in here. But yeah, the sad parts of game developing. So, I'm accessing the game parent. I'm going to do this in a new line. So, get underscore parent. Yes, so I know I'm in the imp directory. Dot get child, probably? No? I don't know why I can't directly indicate the object, this object, the animated sprite. So get underscore child, and I can indicate an index, so it's the 0 index. The problem is we need to make sure, and I don't want to make sure, I want to have the exact name. Hard, honest work. Yes, it's a hard, honest work. So let's just see if this identifies the child with his name. Can we identify with the name? Of course not. Of course not. So let's just go to the documentation. So Godot get child by name. There you go. Can you get a child by name? It's one of the most common questions. Yes, so get child 0 and get node path or node name. So in Godot2.x we are on 3. Get node name. Okay, maybe this works. So let's just try it. Get node or no. Maybe I should do that. No, get node. Node or no is yeah. Get node. There you go. Get node. Can I use now the $? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. But yeah, I will leave it like that because it's not giving me an error. Now, the thing is, as you can see, the if combat changes the animations, right? So I will make it that it can only change these animations if this animated sprite isn't null. So if can move, blah blah blah, it will move, else. Let me see if there is something else that we need to use the animations. In here I have 14 matches. Yeah, I have a lot of them. I have a lot of them. Why do I have a lot of them? Attack damage. Okay, so I use this animated sprite on the movement and in combat. Good, good. So I can just do a if statement in here, right in here. So if get parent get node node or null, and if this is different than null, then it will do everything in here. So I need to add a tab in all of them. And if our enemy don't find in our parent an animated sprite, then it will do a null and it will not move the enemy. Now we can change the way we find our animated sprite by indicating the get parent, get node and our animation. So in everything that we access our animated sprite, we are going to access that. So let's just start copy pasta. So start the copy pasta, or maybe not. Why am I doing this though? Why I'm not smart? No, this must have the tabs in here. So we have all of these variables, right? So let's just be smart. I'm going to create a new variable. Let's just call this variable animation, or I will literally call it animated sprite. Animated sprite will be equals to the node of animated sprite, and I will set it as node or null. There you go. So now when the game starts, it will automatically create this animated sprite, which is going to go to the parent, check if there is an animated sprite, a node with the name animated sprite, and then store it as the animated sprite or null. Now I just copy this name. I don't even need to copy this name. I will go to this if statement, and in this if statement I will just see if the animated sprite is null or not, and if it isn't null, then it will go update the animations, which is move the player and update animation, and then in combat updating all its animations. So I'll just need to swap this for hey, there you go. Then we only have a variable with this, so more things with the animated sprite. More things with the animated sprite. There is a lot of them, I understand. More things, and now we should just have, if I add the $sign, we should have none of it. There you go. Now if Godot doesn't find the animated sprite using this, the game will not broke because of that if statement. So let's just check if the game is working, and it's not. Surprise, surprise, it's not. So get node or null in base null instance on a null instance. Come on, don't be like that. If I do you in this ready, will not. There you go. Easy peasy. Easy breezy. Let's just all write F's in the chat. It's not working. Why? Why it's not working? As a sacred thing that we always say in programming, if it works, don't touch it. I have messed up in something that works, and now it's not working. So, why are you not moving? And why, instead of going to me, you are running away? The lights are running away and I can enter combat. Whoa. Now let's just try to fix this. So, we have the animated sprite in here. We have the enemy in here. So, the animated sprite is not moving the same as the imp. But the enemy, it moves. So I need to change not only the animation things, but also the way the character moves. Okay, let's just check something. So they have this idle animation. If I get close, they all move. If I enter in combat mode, they all enter in combat animation. I believe so. There is one with combat animation, even though this is a mistake, I can identify it. Okay, the animations are working somewhat. Like the tables have turned. Now the light is the problem. Yes. Join the dark side. Yeah. So, movement. There you go, the movement in here. We have the velocity, and when we applied velocity, normalize it, multiply by speed, and then velocity, move and slide velocity. Now I can only apply this to a kinematic body. So I'm going to do something weird. So I'm going to copy everything in the code. I'm going to get all the code in its original thing. There you go, I have a backup of the code that I have created before. Now I'm going to do something different. I'm going to, when I start the game, why is this in here? Get parent. Okay, you go away. And this is, everything is okay. Okay, now I'm going to get parent. Yes, I'm going to pick the parent. Then I'm going to get node. Node or null of our animated sprite. Let's just copy this name, script, paste, animated sprite, and now, so I get the parent, get node or null, the animated sprite, and now I will need to check something first in our documentation. Set parent so we need get node, so we have our node, so get parent dot remove child self, okay, I'm going to do this like that, so I have a variable animation equals to this. Now I can access our get parent, and I will remove a child, which is going to be the animation. There you go. And then I will get this node, so self dot add child and I will add the animation. Now let's see what happens. Of course it's going to break. Attempt to call function play in base null instance on a null instance. Yeah, I should expect that. But thing is, now that I have the animation in here, I can replace everything again. I didn't want to do that, but oh well. Oh well. So let's just Control F this, copy this variable, the animation is now child of the enemy, but doesn't find this anyway, so let's just swap the animated sprite for animation. There you go. Animation, everything animation. Now this is going to cause a problem. Don't worry, I'm going to fix that. Don't worry. So animation. There you go. So let's go to the top again. There you go. And it broke again. So attempt to call function play in base null instance on a null instance. You need that if, don't you? So if animation is different than null, then you can play everything in here. Okay. Are you fixed? No, you're not. No, you are not. You are all the same. You are not fixed. You are not fixed, so how can I change you? Maybe it's the movement part, it's walking inside the imp and not the thing. The other weird thing is that it didn't do nothing on the animated sprite. Maybe I need to do this as well. Self. So let's remove self from the imp thing. And it's still the same crap. It's almost a tradition. Yo, is that the famous code of Eksauria? The game Eksauria coded by the coder of Eksauria. I like it, you're fun, yes. Yes it is. And that's the same tradition when it comes to coding streams. I have always to end up on a cliffhanger, which is an unresolved bug. Why this is always happened? But don't worry about that. The same way I have fixed the patrol thing, I will fix this too. So this is something that honestly I shouldn't have moved too much. But yeah. So if you want to see this bug fixed, do not... how can I forget how to say that in English? The famous Dragon Ball thing in English. Let's see if chat knows that. So stay tuned for the next episode. Oh, this doesn't have the Dragon Ball thing. Come on. Come on. Yeah, singing Dragon Ball GT. GT, Dragon Ball GT, guerreiro. I'm not gonna start singing in Portuguese in here. But that is an epic music of our childhood. So don't miss the next episode, because we are not two. Something like that. I need to see that phrase, that epic phrase in English for the next time. So give us a follow, and we shall see you in the next week. Not me, it will be a surprise next week, so stay tuned to see who's going to stream next week. And to do that, we can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. Yes, wait, the links. You can copy the links on the Discord. I have created a pinned message in our private text. So, Martin girl, or other person responsible for sharing links, I have a list of all the links to share in there. So you can check us our Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, where we are now, IndieDB, in our beautiful Discord. We have a Discord. We try to be active on our Discord, so show up and say hi. We also have our own website, ugs.pt. I will promise you to update that soon. The Elon Musk soon, so it probably in a few months or years, who knows, when I got some time to do that. We also have a Ko-Fi and probably Patreon, I don't know, I don't remember. I believe we have a Patreon, I don't know if that's active or not. We have a Ko-Fi though. And of course our beautiful Twitch page. So I'm gonna end now this beautiful soundtrack of Blasphemous. Thank you very much. And thank you for you all, chat, for seeing our stream. 9 viewers. It is a shame to end now, but oh well. I have more serious things to do, like dinner for tonight. Smash that like button if you are on YouTube, of course, and subscribe. And see you next stream. Bye bye. And for an Easter egg of the stream, the music is working. There you go. You have the Easter egg. Now we have an error screen. I should have put a ask to put in a 404 error, a classic one. But there you go. Now for real, see you next time. Bye bye.